Ellen Brown? We're getting to the next one.
I was starting off with good afternoon, but I'll change it to good evening. Good evening, esteemed members. Thank you so much for your time. I truly appreciate it. My name is Ellen Taylor Brown. I'm a United States Air Force veteran. I am an advocate for plant medicine, and I also serve on the Cannabis Advisory Board as the expert in cultivation for the state of Massachusetts. My job is also a responsible vendor trainer, meaning that what I do for a living is I teach compliance to a number of different licensing types within the cannabis industry. We have heard some incredible testimony here today, especially as it relates to our veterans. And that is so important. And I think that something that we can all agree on, whether or not we agree on this being the ballot initiative or another ballot initiative, is that veteran focus needs to be a care. Therapeutic medicine needs to be a priority. And this is something that we can do by having this as a bill amendment. But I would advocate to look more toward the Bay Staters for Natural Medicine. I really like their bill amendment. I like the bill that they have proposed. I think that would be the most advantageous bill amendment to go up for the voters to vote on in order to have regulation that isn't so over-regulated to the point of detriment where we're going to have to repeal things back and have a system that where we could create it with less barriers to entry initially, as opposed to having to have what we're doing right now in the cannabis industry, where we're trying to claw tooth and nail to get things added, like post-traumatic stress disorder, reciprocity, other things that would be advantageous for our veterans and other members within our community that are subject to needing things that are not going to be accessible through their regular sources of care. Primary care for veterans is all federally funded, so they can't get cannabis, they can't get psilocybin, they can't get some of the medicines that could be life-saving for them. So for this council, I would ask that you look into supporting a ballot initiative that is going to be less legalese and more straightforward. I really appreciate both sides. This is not to disparage what the PAC has done, and this is not to, anything like that. It's just when we look at bill amendments, it's looking what would be the best for the Commonwealth. And what we're doing is we're looking at, well, what has worked for Oregon? What has worked for Colorado? I think we should look at those frameworks to, what worked, what didn't work, but we can make our own framework. We can do this from the ground up. We can do this ourselves here in the state of Massachusetts with in-state ballot initiatives and in-state advocates and in-state educators that know what's going on and what works best for the Commonwealth, not cookie-cutter frameworks from other states that don't impact or influence us. And the thing of it is that the individual advocates like myself, I'm going to be the one you're seeing later on to try to get those bill amendments done that weren't initially put as part of the ballot initiative. So I really appreciate if you could maybe even look at both bills and see if there's a way to merge or marry them together, if that's an option, maybe, best of both worlds, because our focus is always what's going to be most advantageous, not only for our veterans, but for the entire Commonwealth. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Ellen. Sandy Bernier?